Before starting, we would like to introduce what is economics. Economics is the study of how individuals, businesses, and governments make choices in allocating resources to satisfy their wants and needs, and tries to determine how these groups should organize and coordinate efforts to achieve maximum output. We are now going to draw a market diagram. As we can see, there's a demand and supply curve, intersecting at a point A, at a quantity Q1 and price P1, where the marginal social cost is equal to the marginal social benefit, at maximized social welfare. We are going to consider the following assumptions. Consumers are completely rational, there is perfect information between consumers and producers, and social welfare is maximized. According to Richard Taylor, the 2017 Nobel Prize in Economics, who proves psychology has a very important role in economics, the three factors affecting consumer psychology are bounded rationality, self-control, and social preferences.
Bounded rationality is based on three factors: the prospect theory, laws of aversion and endowment effect, and mental accounting. Aversion, laws, and endowment effect are two concepts that are interlinked together. This refers to an increased value in what we have compared to what we don't have. That's why in supermarkets we get cashbacks, since we have the cash in our hands rather than money given back to our credit card. Lastly, we have mental accounting. This refers that we separate our expenses in categories and give a certain budget to each category to keep track of our expenses. So how does prospect theory and laws of aversion affect the demand of a good? To begin with, we have the demand and supply curve for wages, intersecting at point A at a quantity of Q1 and price of P1. Due to a 70% cashback refund, this causes consumers to buy more of that good, causing the demand to shift from D1 towards D2, resulting in an increase in quantity demanded from Q1 to Q2, and also in an increase in price from P1 to P2. How does this help managers in their decisions? Managers will know that if they offer a 70% discount or a 70% cashback, their demand will increase as prospect theory states consumers value goods by losses and gains rather than consumption. And relating into laws of aversion, the cashback is seen as a gain since they're given money, making consumers to accept the offer. However, there is one factor affecting these decisions that managers from companies should have in mind: mental accounting. Given that mental accounting says that we limit our expenses, managers should know that the demand for their good is also going to be limited. This is graphically represented above, where the dotted line represents the maximum demand of their product. Consumers are originally at point A at a quantity Q1 and a price of P1. No matter how many offers are launched by the firm, the maximum quantity demand they can achieve in a given population is at point B, where maximum demand intersects with the supply curve, at a quantity of Q2 and a price of P2, resulting in an increase for producer surplus, areas E, to areas E plus D plus C, and a change in consumer surplus from areas B and D to areas B and A.
The second contribution Thaler made was on self-control. Thaler based his ideas on the thought that consumers are driven by two main social selves, one that deals with the actions from the present and the other that deals with actions for the future. Thus, many economic decisions include self-control since there is a need to balance out the two social selves. In addition, he found out that the balance between the two social selves can be altered through nudging, which is the act of altering people's behaviors and decisions and aiming to maximize rationality in the market. To prove the effect of nudging, Thaler applied his knowledge to a program called Save More Tomorrow, whose aim was to save each subsequent increase in salaries. However, the people that would enroll to this program would go on into a certain level and then stall due to a minimal knowledge about the future value of currency. It allows enrolled customers to save as a default. This program was proven to be very successful as private sector pension schemes in the United Kingdom jumped from 2.6 million to 7.7 million from 2012 to 2016. In the same way, nudging can be applied in many governmental fields. A clear example could be taxing. Let's assume that the government wants to increase tax revenue without increasing the tax percentage. With nudging and the use of specific vocabulary in the tax reminder letters, they are able to increase taxation as it is diagrammatically shown. Let's assume that this graph represents the tax requirement for the year 2017. As it can be appreciated, the demand is completely elastic, meaning that the tax percentage for the year is going to remain stable. However, as it has been explained before, nudging has the role of changing people's decisions and behavior, resulting in an increase in tax supply from point A, at a tax revenue Q1 and X percentage, where S supply 1 intersects with D1 demand 1 towards point B, where S2 intersects with D1 still at X percentage tax, but a greater tax revenue level, Q2. As a result of this nudging, producer surplus in this case, it is going to benefit society since we are the producers of taxes, has increased from areas A to A, B, C, increasing tax revenue and benefiting society as a whole. creating an extra governmental revenue to be invested in education, medicine, and others.
Social preferences are a type of preference studied in behavioral economics and related to the concepts of reciprocity, altruism, inequity aversion, and fairness. Taylor's studies played an incremental part in establishing fairness as a major research topic in today's economics. Whilst undergoing studies with Kahneman and Jack Netz, Taylor provided verifiable evidence that fairness plays a key role in consumers' decisions. What they had found out from their studies greatly supported their hypothesis that fairness is a constraint to businesses on being able to profit maximize regardless of their market power. As a result, goods can be allocated by quantity rationing. From Taylor's experiments, the ultimatum game, we can see how social preferences are key in managers' decision-making. From the experiment's results, we can say that for managers to set the price of any good or service, they are going to consider both their surplus and the consumer surplus. As we can see in the diagram, a high price, P1, leads to a low quantity demanded, Q1. At this price, the consumer surplus is very low, area A, and they are less willing to buy the product. If the price is fair, P2, the quantity demanded increases to Q2. And this is considered as fair because the consumer surplus, now areas A, B, and C, are similar to the producer's one.
Being DNE.
The idea of fairness allows managers to understand at what price they have to set the goods and services they are selling in order to make a bigger profit. The experiment follows the idea of inequality aversion, as people prefer fairness and resist inequality. The concept can be applied to a simple supply and demand situation, but also in a marketing area or for further research such as consumers' response to unique price promotions.